Like, share this video, comment, and subscribe to the PLM News Network channel. Our sole responsibility and purpose are to educate and stand on truth and facts. PLM News Network thanks each of you for your unwavering loyalty and support.
Real briefly, I'm gonna say this: if you take a group of guys that murderers, thugs, killers, gangbangers, and send them all together, what you're gonna have, man, is gonna have a lot of disorganization. So it was a transition, man. It was a tough period to either get people to start to understand what the concept was. So it took a time for it to even to get to a semblance of people understand. Because you had a lot of guys coming in, man. I'm gonna tell you something, man. Two things we must understand. There was a lot of trauma going on, and there's a lot of guys, man. Guys couldn't even read or write. So you had to get from teaching somebody how to read in order to even start to get them to understand what was going on. I'm talking about in the whole joint, in all what you call organization. Everybody, it was a whole lot of dudes couldn't read or write. In the state of Illinois, Larry Hoover and them started a school program because the state of Illinois did not fund a school program at first. You come in there and just do whatever you want to do. Play basketball, run around, smoke weed, get out, drink. You do whatever you want to do and you go right back out illiterate. That's how it was in the state of Illinois. So Larry and them started a school, their own school program. Well, as you know, it's all things that people start, especially when we started, the government comes and takes over the program. They start, okay, we're going to fund that. We're going to do that. So they started funding it and they made the school program. So you came in, man, that's why they started testing you to see can you read on a 6th grade level. It was a lot
test.
could not read or write, man. That new concept didn't have education is our #1 goal for nothing. They know what they was doing, man.
Yeah, keep going. We listen.
Go up to float some. I know they seen the same thing. I'm just saying. I know they seen the same stuff. We all see symbols of the same thing going on, and it had to the trends to get. Now for the life of me, with so much information and technology, but I can understand how someone could get misled into thinking of something because no one was counting up at first. B is the first one that really done started coming out and counting all those things. Nobody was saying nothing. It was the other people saying nothing about us because we were reluctant to say something about ourselves. The faith, they watch it, they was concentrating on it. Nobody want to step up and say anything. No voice. We had no voice. Now we have a voice, man. We have someone that can articulate if people listen and go back.
Can I iterate on what Tank was saying?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to say, when I came to the joint, I was under the impression that you had educated people there. What Tank was saying is right. When I came to the joint, I was a high school graduate, so I knew a little something or whatever. But when I came to the joint, and I'm putting this percentage out there, and I think this percentage is right. I'm being a little generous. I think 80% of the people that was in the penitentiary period was illiterate. They couldn't read and write, like Tank was saying. They couldn't read and write. They didn't have no comprehension or anything. So, I know when I came, we had to have education things for them because they couldn't read and write. They couldn't comprehend. So that's how literature class was really starting. So people comprehend. People didn't know how to comprehend when it came to that. So it's just like with religion or whatever. You got to have there to interpret what the Bible saying or what religions you going to for the people that can't comprehend. And that's what we was doing. We was teaching, educating, and all that stuff for the people that didn't comprehend or couldn't read or write. So what Tank was saying was right. It was a whole bunch of illiterate people in the joint, and I'm thinking that because they was there, it was told them to happen. But like Fee was saying too, We was all growing together. So exceptions of it, everybody was growing. So I worked in the library all my bit. So I'm a certified paralegal and everything. It nobody didn't not even gonna say nobody, but the majority of people didn't know how to comprehend, didn't know how to read and write, or none of that stuff. So it took the legal staff and the education staff to teach the men how we had to interpret the laws, the concept, and everything to the membership so they could understand it. So what Tank was saying was right because man, they didn't really know nothing. And like you were saying, we come from a background. This is the background of the penitentiary, not just our organization, but the period. You have murderers, thieves, all different crimes. So you got these type of people there. So hey, we got to learn how to deal with them. We had to learn how to deal with them because we got them all them type of people. Period. You know,
Cash,
that's it.
you next, Blayland.
And I'm gonna say when Fee was just talking, he was talking about some of the transition into growth and development in the years that it started and stuff like that. And I must speak up for the brothers. Like Fee was one of them. I was one of them. I know for sure, and it's a few of my other brothers. It's a whole lot of us that was part of this group. We were the ones that by the time we made it into the penitentiaries 87, 88, 89, 90, that we had fresh minds and we didn't have the totality, we didn't have the old concept in totality. We didn't have all of that locked up inside of us and had been functioning on the street in the old concept. When we got there, we had fresh new minds for them to embed the new concept into. So we were the forgotten generation. We were the first. We were what you want to call, what I would like to think of as the glue, because they breathed new concept into us when we came. It was already there, and they had a chance to make their transition from high supreme gangsters and devil disciples and all of those stuff, boss pimps. They had their chance to transition over to growth and development. So now their walks in life was growth and development. So when we came, like 89 and 90 and 90, we came right into the grooming of growth and development. We didn't have to deal with the old tyrannical viewpoints and stuff like that. So we fully embraced the growth and development because this is what it was about. These are the originals. This is the first generation. So we quickly sponged up and we just wanted to be noticed, just to have one of call your name. You know what I mean? Was
blessing, man. And that made us feel good on the inside to be like, man, big fella just called me Cash, man. He just, out of all the people he could have called, he called my name. You know what I mean? And we was seeking the love. We were seeking the love by all means necessary. That's what we wanted, the love, and it was too much. And at some point, it became not enough. Couldn't get enough of the love because that's all we had. We was all we had.
Mm-hmm. Blayland?
Yeah, I have a question. Okay, so when as the nation builders came in to the penitentiary, where the originals were, we're looking at between 87 and 89. Okay, when y'all came in, was the organization still called BGD, or was it called Gangster Disciples, or was it called Growth and Development? And at what point did BGD, Black Gangster Disciples, become Gangster Disciples, and Gangster Disciples become Growth and Development? Since it's all one timeline.
Okay, let me answer this. Let's get this understood. BGD and GD are the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same thing, man.
Mhm.
GD, it's the same thing.
Mhm.
And we all know that we are black. And so when the B came off of, man, it's because other organizations, other ethnic group had joined the organization. They had joined the organization. Now, I came into the system in 1985. My first prison bit was in 1985. I made it to Stateville in 86. So what these brothers are telling you, they are correct. We all had to learn. When I went in the system, I came in with a gangster disciples mentality or a black gangster disciples mentality. However you want to put it, it's the same thing. So I'm going to put BGD/GD mentality. And over time, we had to grow into and develop into growth and development. Now you come into as people's coming into the system today, they saying growth and development. When we went into the system, it was still BGD, GD, gangster disciples. So we had to grow because you got to remember we was young. The new concept hadn't really touched us in the street the way it was that it had been in the joint.
Mm-hmm.
So when we really got it, we had seen some of the literature and we had seen some of the things, but when we got it, now we saying, oh, because the first thing they gave you when you came in, once you went through the screening process, they gave you a literature package, a complete literature package, not no 2 or 3 pieces. They gave you a complete literature package where you had to learn. And if you didn't learn, this is what they used to do. They used to walk up on us and ask us to say the creed. One of them originals will walk up on us and say the creed. If you mess up with the creed, they would tell you when you get back to the cell house, man, tell your UC, man, that you got a 5-pack fine. When you get back over there, you got to tell them that you got a fine because you ain't messed up on the creed. You know what the UC gonna do?
What's
They're
that?
gonna send you up to they're gonna send you up there to that cell. They're gonna take your TV and your radio up out of that cell where you at and make you sit up in there and learn because you making that unit, that cell house, look bad.
Mhm.
They hammered it in us, man. I'm talking about they hammered it in us. I didn't want to go to school. So
Mhm.
you know what they make me do? Every day they used to make me get up and go over to B East and get Big Poochie. Big Poochie worked in the library. Tank could tell you about Big Poochie. Big Poochie worked in the library. I used to have to carry Big Poochie briefcase and walk him to the library every morning for work, carrying his briefcase so they can get me into school. Because they seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. A great transition for all of us, but it was a learning transition.
Yeah, so let's not get the phrases. I think it's the point where we got some people got the phrases mixed up when they were saying Black Gangster Disciple Nation. Yes, as they say, man, it was a Black Gangster Disciple Nation because the gangsters and the disciples came together, and we was black. That was a natural thing to say we black because we black, or that's the phrase anyway. We black, so Black Gangster Disciple Nation. So as we went on into this transition, the literature was already saying, but they didn't want to move so fast that we wouldn't comprehend. Because in my mind, I was still a gangster disciple. I don't care what you say, how you say, gangster disciple. I was reading and started to eventually understand as they were saying, we know you're gonna take time, grow, and develop into this. As they said, their generation actually was the ones they were speaking of in the literature. Before they came to the joint, they already had written. It was like a prophecy, man, that they had written that this is gonna affect this generation. They don't even know yet what these people have in store for them. This is gonna affect these guys. And for sure enough, those guys are the ones start flooding the prisons. They started flooding the prison. So they got the essence. They came in under the essence of the new concept, of the new. So we was there laying it down, putting it down, because right there, we was in the learning process.
Right.
We was in the learning phase. We was just getting it. So we was in the learning process. So we was the one actually putting it into play. They came in and there was that generation. As Cass said, they was the one. And I seen it. I said, man, 3, 4 years later, boom, here they come. Here they come. And it was coming, not knowing anything about this. So a lot of us coming in kind of leery about it, and kind of like, man, I don't know. But they already had trained, told us, gave us the knowledge to say, man, when you have these literature classes, man, let them know, man, when you come to these guys, it's all right that they don't know. It's okay. Don't worry about that.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna teach you.
True.
Where so they
True.
made you feel comfortable, we're gonna
True.
teach you. A guy can't read, we bring him to that. I had to, as I was in literature classes, sometimes
Exactly.
you will figure out somebody be ashamed that they couldn't read, man. Somebody will be, it's all kind of things was going on. Some people
Yeah.
didn't want to, some people did embrace it and went on and learned more and more. You know what I'm saying? So it was a transition. But don't get, my thing is, don't get them words confused. Black is the disciple nation. As he said, man, you got to remember something. We had a large group of Latin folks. Some of
Yes.
them had white
Mm-hmm.
boys that was Latin folks. There was Latin folks. They had, so we had a big thing with the Latin folks that some of they, like I said, some of their members was white. So yes, the black and GD became growth and development. GD came to symbolize growth and development. That's all we need. We don't need. We represent this, man, in the South and everywhere. And I'm glad that P is doing it. And I think some of the leadership has stepped up a little more, man, on these topics, man, on this education. Because educating about the history of this is very important. It's important to us as a group because we don't want nobody somewhere in Alaska, somewhere talking about some, yeah, Don Durkee is the king. And I don't want that, man. That's a disgrace. That's disrespectful to what we built. And we don't want that nowhere. Man. We don't want that in the South. We don't want that nowhere. We want understanding. So why it hasn't been delivered? And I can understand how someone came and manipulated somebody. Though. Any one of us can go somewhere and make up something. People
Yes.
that know and give them anything, false information. We can do that too. But I'm not. I'm gonna give them the truth and how it was.
That's how it's supposed to be. We stand on truth. We stand on the
Mm-hmm.
facts. So like when we was in the prison system, man, all we had was each other. And we used to have, as these people's called today, Cash can tell you, D-Mac can tell you, Tank can tell you, as they had these little old rap ciphers, when they get inside they little ciphers and they start rapping and doing freestyling. We had that same thing with us, man, when it came to the literature and understanding the literature. We would go all in the cell, we'll go out on the yard and get in our own little groups and have our own cipher, and we wanted to know, everybody was trying to see one up each other, but in a good way with understanding the organization, reciting the literature and breaking the literature down. This is what we
Hey, can
used
I
to
speak on
do.
a story? P,
Yep.
can I speak on a story about that? It's a
Yep.
story. Some of my people that I grew up with, and this is a joint thing from the county jail to the joint. One of the people that one of my peers, Jay Dilla. Jay
Jay Dilla.
Dilla was real cold with the lit. You know what I'm saying? I was real, yeah, Jay Dilla. I was real cold with the lit. So when we see each other, we used to compete about have a one up on each other. Oh, I know this, I know that. I could recite the common sense approach word for word, and that's 4 pages. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
we always was like challenging each other. Was like, man, I know more than you now. I know this and that. I know this. You know what I'm saying? So and then when it came to being in literature class and all that, we was always trying to up each other or whatever. It's like a competition thing because we were so proud of being GD that we had to do that. I'm gonna show you that I really know what this is about. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we do. And that's what it was. And I did that with JD, with Jay Dilla, with a whole bunch of people. You know what I'm saying? It was a competition thing with us. See who could who know the most and all that. And then actually, it became it became that we were challenging some of the creators, which we
Yeah.
was crazy at the time. We was challenging some of the creators using that lit on them. You know what I'm saying? When they make decisions or something like, oh no, you can't do this. This is what this said. This is what they said. Which was crazy, because they was some of the people that make laws and policies, and we was challenging that. It's a whole bunch of stories about that we didn't challenge executive members and all that stuff. And that's what Fee was saying is definitely correct that we was definitely challenging each other because we wanted to up one each other and say who knows the most about the organization. You know?
Cash.
Yeah.
That- That's crazy that he say that because I can remember that being on the school wing in 1990 with Anki,
What's the
Rufus.
school wing? What's the school wing,
The
bro?
school wing was a part of the county jail where they had you going to school to get your GED.
Oh,
You know,
okay.
we was
Right.
right around 17 and 18. You know, they had us in school and we had to do the school thing. And I can remember being on there with some of them guys, House and Rufus,
Yeah. Rufus
BD
K. Rufus.
Fido, BD Cole
Yeah.
B, you know, and
Yeah.
it was so deep and it was we was so rooted in love. We used to be in the cells with the BDs. We used to be going back and forth with them, and and because we was disciples, we wanted to know disciple literature too. We was just eating, just and could just say
Right.
piece after piece after
Yep.
piece, back to back. And if you miss a word, you do
Right.
push-ups, you can do jumping jacks. But it was like to
Hmm.
keep competing. We'll be here next week to do the same thing, and we gonna see who know how many pieces without messing up, without missing a word,
Right.
And you might even have a brother over there with the piece in his hand, you know, while you saying it. Make sure you don't miss a word.
Right.
Everybody on you. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it wasn't a compete like to show one another up. It was a competitive nature that we pushed each other to
Hmm.
be better. Our
Man
hunger
shopping and
and
man.
our hunger to be, a part of the organization was insatiable.
Mm.
We couldn't be satisfied with just knowing a little bit. We had to know it all.